Hey, it's your boy Terrence K. Williams, and I am here with my sister and the senior advisor to the 45th president, the greatest president, Donald Trump, 2024 campaign.
Hey.
Lynne Patton.
What's up, Terrence?
My sister.
Great to see you.
I love you.
So great to be here.
I love you so much. And we both got on black.
I know.
And we both black.
I know.
Black on black.
Triple black.
Trip on black.
Yes, that's right.
So how are you doing?
Great, Terrence.
That's awesome.
Welcome to Florida.
Florida is great.
I love it.
Now, are you from New York City?
I'm actually from Connecticut, suburban Connecticut.
Connecticut?
Yes, honey.
Are there black folks in Connecticut?
There are. There's one or two of us. And I represent both of them right now.
Connecticut? So you were born in Connecticut?
Born and raised in Connecticut. You know, my dad was a doctor at Yale for quite some time.
Wow.
So I grew up around that campus.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was a great experience.
What kind of doctor was your dad?
Well, to the studio audience here, he basically was the Dr. Fauci of Yale. He was chief of infectious disease there.
But he's not corrupt like Dr. Fauci, is he?
No.
Okay.
He worked
we
at
don't
the
need
CDC.
another. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, so your dad worked at the CDC.
Yes.
Is he a fan of Dr. Fauci?
You know, he knows Dr. Fauci. They have many mutual friends, and that's this topic that we try to steer away from.
Right, yeah.
Because, you know, growing up in the world of infectious disease and epidemiology, I really respected and valued that industry.
Yes.
And then to see what Fauci has done to it over the last 2-3 years has just been atrocious. And it breaks my heart because there's a lot of great doctors in public health.
Yes.
He's not one of them. But my father is.
Why don't we hire your father? Why don't your dad replace Dr. Fauci?
Right? I would love that.
Why don't they replace? Well, he's gone now. Dr. Fauci is gone.
He is gone. My dad's retired.
Yeah.
But you know, he's you know, been in this business for a long time, and in fact, even helped develop some you know, therapeutics for malaria, which included hydroxychloroquine.
Wow.
Which, you
That's
know,
amazing,
when
though.
the president said hydroxychloroquine might work, we knew that as a family that it did. They've been using it for malaria for 30 years. But of course, when Trump says it, suddenly, you know, the whole public health world, you know, went into overdrive trying to figure out how to discredit it. Right. It was incredible.
If Trump said, take your vitamin C every day, they would say, ban vitamin C.
They sure
vitamin
would.
C is bad for you. Walgreens would take vitamin C off the shelf. CVS would take it off the shelf.
Banned.
They would ban vitamin C. I'm telling you.
Just like Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. Now, speaking of black people, why do black people continue to vote for Democrats?
I mean,
why?
Like you said, it must be in the chicken. I mean, there must be something in the chicken because that's a very good question. Why do we? It's like the definition of insanity.
Yes.
You keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And on a serious note, I wish I could answer that question because that would be the key to every you know, failed campaign in history.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know, if we can cull that demographic and get folks like us to understand that, you know, the blue policies in all of these urban and rural communities aren't working.
Yeah.
You know, Trump would have been president 60 times over.
Yeah, you know what? That's what I just don't understand why black people continue to vote for Democrats when the Democrats have been running the black community for years.
It's a great
for
question.
Decades.
And I try to look at my own family.
Yes.
Because, you know, obviously I'm a Republican. 9/11 changed me forever.
Okay.
My parents are Democrats still. And they struggle because they know my relationship with the Trump family. They know that I spoke at the, you know, Republican National Convention in front of 30 million people. They were embarrassed. They didn't tell any of their friends.
They were embarrassed?
They were like, change the channel. We heard there's a very special episode of Punky Brewster on like Channel 10. Watch that instead.
Wow. But your parents are happy for you though, right?
They're happy for me
Yes.
because they know that I'm very passionate about what we do. In this fight that you and I are both in. It's real, it's important, but, you know, they struggle with how they feel about Trump himself.
Yes.
You know, with the presidential they don't think Twitter is very presidential.
Well,
you know, but they also know that as an individual, because I've been with him for so long, and I guess we'll get into that, you know, what he's done for me as a person, they truly value and respect.
Yeah.
But, you know, they just don't understand the name calling and you know, some of the sort of bolsterous personality.
I love it.
You and me both,
Thank
honey.
you. You are exact. I love the name calling. I do. And I'm a comedian, so I think some of the stuff is really funny.
It's
You know, he came up
hilarious.
with some of the greatest
Are you
nicknames
kidding
ever.
me?
He
Little
come up with some of the
Marco,
greatest
Lion
nicknames.
Tat,
I don't
I mean-
ever want to get in. I don't ever want to fight with
Low
Trump.
energy Jeb.
Oh, I don't want to fight with him. I don't want him to give me a nickname. Tiny T. Everybody call me Tiny T. Tiny T is a horrible
love it.
guy.
I love it. Well, we might have to ask him what our nicknames would be if we had to pick.
Yeah, but going back to black people voting for Democrats,
Yeah.
you know, like I just don't understand, because if you complain about not having things in America, if you complain about black people not being treated fairly, black people not having opportunities,
racism.
if you continue to claim,
Right.
if you continue to complain about racism and jobs and this and that, why? But you still vote for the same people.
And not
You
only
still
that,
vote for the same people.
but-
It doesn't make it make sense.
Run those priorities parallel to the policies and the achievements and accomplishments that Trump did for black and brown communities, which I could list right now, and I think I will.
List them.
I think I will
List them.
Should I list them?
List them.
Okay, let's start with HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. To this day, even after halfway through the Biden administration, Trump has still given more money to historically black colleges and universities than any president in history. He waived all their federal debt, which they had accumulated under George Bush from Katrina, and some damage there. That was about $300 million.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he made sure that year after year, all of the presidents of these universities, like 12, 20 presidents, would come to the White House, beg for funding. It was a tradition.
Yeah.
He said, the businessman in him was like, why do these presidents keep coming to my office year after year? It's not that I don't love them. They're great people, very admirable, but they have more important things to do. They should be running their communities, their universities. So he said, tell you what, as much as I love to see you, I'm going to give you 10 years of permanent funding.
Amazing.
And it was like double what they were asking for, and it was the first time that ever happened.
Okay, so before Trump, there was Barack Obama.
Correct.
The first black president.
Correct. He actually defunded HBCUs, and actually...
And why don't we talk about that? So Barack Obama defunded HBCUs.
And also...
And he was the first black president.
He was the first black president, and here's the crazy thing that a lot of people don't know, and I actually wrote it in an op-ed that published last week in Newsmax. His Department of Education, Obama's Department of Education, changed this financial aid rule that actually caused about 28,000 minority students to drop out of HBCUs.
Wow.
Were they re-enrolled later? I don't know, but 28,000 HBCU students had to drop out because of this one rule change. I think it was some federal loan program. I wish I knew the details in front of me, but that was never really exposed as it should have been. If Trump changed something that caused 30,000 black students and brown students to drop out of college,
it'll be breaking news.
I mean, it would be on every channel everywhere, and you
it
can
be
Google
everywhere.
it.
Wow.
It's true.
I'm surprised after Barack Obama. A lot of black people voted for Barack Obama because he was black, simply
Correct.
because he was black,
Correct.
because of the color of his skin.
Yes,
And Obama was talking a good game.
he was.
He was talking a good game.
He's the king of speeches. I'll give him that.
I mean, he was
He's
motivating
a
a lot.
good
He was
speaker.
inspiring a lot of people and giving a lot of people courage whenever he was running for office. And
Right.
people really believed in him.
Yeah.
And he made so many promises. And a lot of black people thought that that Barack Obama
Yeah.
was going to be their savior. They thought Barack Obama was going to take them from rags to riches.
The crazy thing is,
And he
there are
took
black
them from
people that
rags-
still think he's their savior.
Exactly.
Still.
And
Knowing that black home ownership plummeted under him. Black, household income plummeted under him.
Right.
Black unemployment went up under him. I mean, there was
Yeah.
just a litany. And I have a confession to make.
Well,
This is breaking. This is an exclusive.
oh my God.
I've been a registered Republican for quite some time. In fact, 9/11 is what prompted me to switch parties.
Why?
But
why?
Oh,
Why is that?
well, okay. A little side note. I was living in New York at the time, and it was just, what happened there. And when you're in the New York, Connecticut, New Jersey area, that tri-state area, we were
Yeah.
decimated. You did not know somebody who wasn't directly impacted by that day. And so, I saw what was happening in this country. I thought George W. Bush took the leadership role that he should have. He was a hero of mine at the time. That's a different story
At the
for
time.
a different day. But he was a hero of mine at the time. And, I think that Republicans really stepped up with the, creating Homeland Security and then, the profiling that they did, and I hate to say it, but it works. Profiling works.
Yeah.
And, as far as was concerned, the country was getting safer and we were taking the necessary measures to make sure. And probably about like a year or 8 months after 9/11, suddenly Democrats started saying, oh, well, it's not fair to make this guy take off his shoes and this guy do this and this guy, not wear their headdress and everything. And I started saying, why are we like arguing about this? Take your
Right.
damn shoes off. Like, I mean, I want to make sure I get to my destination.
Yeah.
And it just became so clear that the identity politics was starting to like really manifest itself
Yeah.
in one party more than the other. And, we were all about safety and security
Mm-hmm.
and putting America first. And suddenly they're all about, fairness and, that's racist. And not everything is racist. Sometimes it's just common sense.
But in today's world,
Right.
everything is racist.
So that was really what turned me Republican. But to go back to the other story,
Okay.
my father grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and some of you watching might remember a black and white video I made about my relationship with the Trump family in 2015,
Yeah.
where I talk about that and how, being the daughter of somebody who grew up with Jim Crow and had their church bombed and all this kind of stuff was extremely emotional. And on the day, okay, I'll never forget, because I had voted for, I believe I voted for Romney in the primary. I know. I know. And then
Well, who
on
else? Yeah.
election day in the general, I
Yeah.
went to go vote for McCain, and I was all about McCain because he was, an American war hero and this
Yeah.
and that. And I'm standing in line with my dad,
Uh-huh.
like I always do. And I see, we go into our separate booths, and as he's going into the booth to vote, I see these tears streaming down my dad's face. And I was like, wow. And the emotions of voting for a black man, I guess coming from the South like he did,
Yeah.
was just so overwhelming for him. And see, I'm already crying. That I went into the voting booth and I pulled the curtain. And I don't know what came up. Like, I must have had a temporary moment of insanity, Terrence,
Yes.
because I pressed the button for Obama. This was 2008.
Wow.
Because I was just so caught up in what it meant to
your-
people like my dad.
Yeah.
And all I have to say is that within 2 or 3 months, I knew immediately that that was the biggest mistake of my life, because instead of focusing on, if you remember, there was a huge housing
Right.
crisis. The economy had like plummeted.
Right. Yep.
People were
Terrible.
losing
Terrible.
their homes, they were losing their jobs, left and right. And instead of focusing on that, he immediately tried to push through his Obamacare initiative. And that's when I knew this was not about the country to him.
Yeah.
This was about his personal legacy, and he was prioritizing that before he lost Congress in the midterms, and he wanted to make sure he pushed that through. And some of your watchers might remember Nancy Pelosi famously saying, you don't have to read it after we pass it. They were doing everything to try to pass Obamacare before the midterms because they knew they were going to lose the control of the Congress and that they wouldn't be able to pass it anymore.
Yeah.
So as soon as he prioritized himself over this country, I said, fool me once. Fool me once.
Right. I believe Barack Obama was the biggest mistake America ever made. One of the biggest mistakes.
Now, the fools who voted for him again in 2012, I don't know.
Right.
But fool me once, honey.
The biggest mistake. And black people should ask themselves.
Yeah.
Was my life better when Barack Obama was the president? Was it better in those 8 years?
Thank you. And they should also ask themselves, was it better under Trump than it was under Obama?
And ask yourself.
And is it better under Trump than it is now?
And ask yourself, what did Barack Obama do for America, but black people? Please
Thank you,
ask yourself, what did Barack Obama do for the black community?
Thank you.
I've asked so many black people that. I asked so many of my cousins and friends.
I know.
They can't name one thing.
They really can't.
All they can say is
he's black. And he was the first president.
Was black and he made history. And him and Michelle were classy. That's all they can say. They were classy.
Policy, no tangible policy.
He wasn't on Twitter. I don't give a fly. I don't give a shit. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about him being classy. I don't give a damn about the way he talked. I don't give a damn about the way he walked. All I cared about is what he was going to do for this country.
And I'm pretty sure there's some people watching right now who would rather have mean tweets today than paying an extra $7,500 a year
and it amazes
for the same stuff.
And
groceries, rent, everything's gone up, gas, everything under this
even
man.
After not doing anything, after even having a black president, having a black Democrat president, and black people have been voting for Democrats for decades. For decades. Then they get a black president that happens to be a Democrat, and still nothing gets done.
Absolutely.
Why still vote for Joe Biden? Why?
Thank you.
And I don't think a lot of people even voted for Joe. But anyways, we're not gonna. that's a whole nother topic. And then you go and vote for his vice president, who has been a Democrat his whole life for his whole life, and he hasn't done anything. What Joe Biden has been a politician for what, over 35 years,
47,
over 47
and
years.
Trump did. My famous line is Trump did more in 47 months than Biden's done in 47 years.
47.
And let me continue listing some of those things.
47 years.
Finish.
What is it?
Yeah.
What is it that they're doing to convince people to still vote for them after not doing absolutely anything for decades?
Thank you.
So
I said Trump has given the most money to historically black colleges and universities. Trump also gave the most money than any president since 1997 to public housing and affordable housing at HUD, which I know because I worked at HUD under Secretary Ben Carson, my second favorite politician.
I love Ben Carson.
I know.
I love Uncle Ben.
Can we just say
Uncle Ben? He's a real Uncle Ben. He's a real Uncle Ben.
I love it.
We need some Uncle Ben Carson Rice. Uncle Ben.
I love it. Plus, he passed the First Step Act, which was the first bipartisan criminal justice
Which was
reform.
amazing.
Even Van Jones applauded it. A lot of Democrats were on board with that. Since he signed it, I think over 15,000 nonviolent minorities have been given a second chance at life and at work and at a family, been released from prison. He designated the Ku Klux Klan a federal terrorist organization. I think he also...
Trump has denounced the Ku Klux Klan many times.
Many times.
Trump would never... Trump, come on.
On
many
YouTube,
of times.
there are like actual videos of like 15 minutes of clips of him denouncing, David, what's his name? Byrd, I think, and, the Ku Klux Klan, white nationalism, white supremacy. You can't say it enough, of course.
Exactly.
But, for all the haters out there who continue to say that he never has, I implore you to go to YouTube because there's a whole litany of examples. He pardoned the first black heavyweight champion of the world. He designated Medgar Evers' home, slain civil rights leader Medgar Evers, a historic monument. He's created a Martin Luther King Park in Atlanta.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, christened
President
listen
Trump.
to this one. Yes.
Let's say this again. I want people to know this. President Trump created a Martin Luther King Park in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, he did. Ask Bruce Lavelle, our good friend. He was there. So was Alveda King. We love her. They were both there at that grand opening. He also, some of you might have seen that movie Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck. I don't know if you remember Cuba Gooding Jr. He was in that movie.
Yeah.
And he played a character who was a real-life World War II hero named Dory Miller, who was a black sailor on one of those bombed ships in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Trump christened the first naval aircraft carrier after this black man. No, never got any attention for that.
Right.
Also appointed the first black female brigadier general of the United States. Never got any sort of accolades for that either. And
wow. It sounds like a lot.
I can go on and on.
You know what? Trump has done so much for the black community.
Yeah.
A Republican president. Trump has probably done more for black people than any Republican.
He brought in manufacturing.
Than any Democrat.
Yeah, and if you want to know numbers, he brought in manufacturing that increased black take-home income by $4,000 a year. He also created 8,700 opportunity zones, which are specifically designated census tracts based on low income. So you can't fake it. You can't pretend like some little parcel in Brooklyn is an opportunity zone when it's not, because it has to qualify based on census reviews. He raised over $75 billion. Trump raised over $75 billion for these 8,700 low-income areas and rural and urban communities all across America. Right. And so because of him, low-income housing, stores, grocery stores, mom-and-pop small businesses were able to thrive.
Wow. You know what I just thought of?
What?
You should write a book called Because of Him.
That's actually a great title.
Because of Him.
Aww.
So after we're done, we're going to make sure you go get the domain for that.
Right?
Because of Him. That's a great title, Because of Him.
I love it.
Because of him. And it can go over all the things that Trump has done.
I could tell you, Terrence, and you know this story. It's because amazing. Of him, I'm here today. I don't think I would be alive if it weren't for Donald J. Trump and his family. And we can get into that. So
we do need to get in it. We do need to get into that. Now, but before we get into that, what can the Republicans do to get more black votes? What is the Republican Party doing wrong? Because evidently the Democrats, the Democrats, these are some real con artists here, okay?
Yeah.
They've been able to master. They've been able to fool people to fool black people for decades by not doing anything. Still making them believe
all lip service,
and still making them believe that
things
they are
the definition of insanity.
That things are going to change.
Thank you.
What are they doing? You know what they do? They tap into black people's emotions.
They do. They also go to their communities.
Yes.
Republicans need to do a better job of that. We can't just expect folks to come to us to want to, teach me more about what, Republican policies are. No, it doesn't work like that. We have to go to the backyards of these rural and urban communities. And we also have to make sure that we're passing policies, which we have been doing, that impact these communities directly, such as crime, such as cost of living, such as manufacturing. One of the greatest things I think that Trump does, which a lot of people don't recognize how badly it impacts, black and brown communities with respect to soft-skill jobs, is, his stance on illegal immigration. There is no single issue more detrimental to black and brown communities than illegal immigration. Right. They take jobs, they take housing. They're not even supposed to be here. And that is something that Trump shut down.
They're going to call you a racist. They're going to call you a racist. You are absolutely right. They do take jobs. And I remember, and I talk about this all the time, okay? All the time.
Yeah.
I believe it was in Mississippi. They had raided the ICE agents.
Clover Hill Bakery.
Is that where it was at?
Chicago. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Hold on. You said it was where? In Chicago?
Chicago. Clover Hill Bakery.
Now, was that in Chicago? But wasn't there something in Mississippi?
There might have been something in Mississippi,
So there
too.
was something down south. There was a plant down south that was raided by ICE. Wonderful agents. ICE is a wonderful.
Wonderful. We love
wonderful
ICE.
department. Okay, I
love
love what
ICE.
they do. I love when they deport people. It just makes me. Oh God.
Another agency created by Republicans.
It warms my
We love
heart
them.
when they just deport these illegals out of my loving, wonderful country. Get out of here. Come back the right way.
Just come the right way. We love immigrants. Just come the right way.
I love ICE. Oh
We
my
love
God.
immigrants. Just come the right way.
No, I love immigrants. I don't love illegal immigrants.
Right.
Okay,
Trump
ICE-
married 2 immigrants.
Exactly.
He loves immigrants.
And Trump never married an illegal immigrant. And ICE they do not deport legal immigrants.
No.
They deport illegals.
Contribute
And that's why
to
I
this
love
country.
ICE. That's
Yes.
why when I think of ICE, I just.
But I know where
it
you're
just
going
blows
with
my mind.
this.
But anyways,
I know where you're going with
they
this.
raided a plant.
Yes.
Got rid of all those illegal immigrants.
Yes.
Got rid of all of them.
Yes.
Paco and all of them. Got
Yes.
rid of all of them. And you know what? The next day, tons of black people.
They did.
Stood in line
Yep,
to
for
get
those
those
jobs.
jobs. Stood in line for those jobs.
And I know in the example of the Clover Hill Bakery, which I think actually makes the buns for McDonald's. Like, that's how huge this bakery is.
I'm going to go visit that bakery.
ICE raided them, arrested over 800 illegal immigrants that
Wow.
Clover Hill was employing, deported them. The next day, like you said, they, black and brown people who are here legally, born here, Americans, stood in line, got those jobs. Not only were they paid, I believe, 97% more than the folks that they deported, but they also got health care benefits. They got, pensions. They were able to provide for their families, and they're still there.
And and people hire the illegals so they don't have to. These companies are trying to save money.
I mean, I don't blame them.
And trying to save money.
Who can blame
Yeah,
some
but
of these companies
but you know what's funny
they're
though?
taxed out the wazoo by
But
Democrats.
but you know what?
What?
These companies, these big corporations are trying to say they hire these illegal immigrants because they want to save money, but
That's
they
right.
support the Democrats.
They do, and I mean,
You
here's
are
the thing.
supporting a party.
And that's why a lot
who
of those
just-
companies
come on.
flee the United States
Don't-
and go
it don't
overseas.
even make- it don't even make it make
they
sense.
go to Mexico, they
Yeah.
go to China because it's cheaper
It don't.
there.
It don't make sense at all.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense. And black people should be pissed off when they put illegals before them.
I mean,
just
100,000%.
like you said, they're taking
in New
away
York,
jobs,
where
yeah.
I'm from, they just tried to give illegals the right to vote. And a lot of black people that I know that I'm friends with, they were like, "Whoa, hold up." You mean to tell me that they're trying to give illegals the right to vote when,
You got the right to get the hell out this country.
Thank you. And when I oversaw the largest...
That's the only
Thank
right.
you.
The only right that illegals have is the right to get the stepping.
So New York
Move
has...
move your brown ass on out this. Move. Go back. Okay, go back and come back the right way. Okay, and I love my brown. I'm black.
true.
I love
Thank you.
black and brown people. I love white people. I love everybody. Hell, I love everybody.
But you know what? When I was at HUD...
I don't love Obama though.
No,
or
we
Biden.
don't. We don't. And
Kamala,
we don't.
I
And
love
Michelle.
them.
And
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about her in a minute.
Yeah.
But New York City has the largest public housing authority in the country. Actually, the Western Hemisphere. Also the most dilapidated.
Yeah.
I lived there for a month trying to draw attention to the conditions. And I got to befriend so many of the residents, still call some of them my best friends. We still talk and text all the time. And when they heard about Democrats giving illegals the right to vote, my phone blew up. They were like, oh, hells to the no. They wanted to know, why are they prioritizing them more than us?
Right.
Why do they continue to put their health care, their needs, their education, their
Because they're not
over
about
us?
Because they're not about America first.
Thank you.
And Lynn, if anybody knows me, I love to repeat myself. Okay, I love to hear myself talk. I love to repeat myself. So I just want to say this again. Okay.
Yes, say it. Say it loud and proud.
I didn't even know about
Say
that.
it.
But illegals do not have the right to vote. Illegals have one right in this country, and that right is the right to get to stepping. Get up out of here. Go back where you came from and come back the right way, okay? Okay, you got to come to America the right way. And I said this at plenty of my shows before, okay?
Yeah.
America, we love people. We love everybody. We want everybody to come over here and be able to experience and live the American dream.
And by the way,
but you got to come the right way.
Here we are in Florida. Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off, but here we are in Florida. So many of my friends down here, I went to University of Miami, are Cuban, Venezuelan. These are people who are experienced with the communist socialism that their families, their parents before them, their grandparents before them escaped. And, nobody had more support than Donald J. Trump in the state of Florida because of those communities, because of the Hispanic population. I think we tripled the Hispanic support for Donald J. Trump in 2020. It's even higher now, I'm sure.
Right,
And so, ask anybody walking down the street right now in South Florida, what they think about Democrats and socialism, and they'll tell you, that they are Republican all the way.
Yes, and my next door neighbor happens to be, his wife is from Cuba.
Yep.
And he is a Mexican.
Yeah.
And they love President Donald J. Trump. They love him.
Because people who came here the right way,
they come the right way.
Want other people to come the right way, because the ones who suffer the most.
It's not fair.
It's
not fair to those people who came the right way.
Thank you.
It's not fair to those people who went through the process.
That's right.
It's not fair to them.
In fact, I'm friends with the editor of the Daily Mail, and he is a British national. And he said, Lynn, it took 10 years, like 11 years, and over like almost $50,000 for me to get my visa and paperwork on all this stuff together, to be a dual citizen. And it's just, when you do stuff the right way, it's timely, it's not cost effective, it's expensive sometimes. And, but that's the way this country is. If you don't like it, let's change the rules.
Exactly.
And make it less expensive or more, easy to navigate. But, let's not cheat. Let's not reward people who break the law.
Yeah, you remember they were talking about giving reparations to families who were separated at the border.
Thank you. I remember that. And there was $250,000, which is more, by the way, than the death benefit for anybody killed in active duty in the military. And we were like, what? You're going to give more money to an illegal
$500,000
who broke the law than who you gave to a war hero who got shot and killed in Iraq? I mean, make it make sense. Make it make sense.
It's a damn joke.
Make it make sense.
It's a damn joke. But anyway, speaking of Trump.
Yes.
Okay, speaking of the Trumps.
Yes.
How did you meet the Trumps? Like, take us back. Like, how did Lynne Patton...
How much time we got?
We got all day there. Who was the first Trump you met?
Eric Trump.
How did you meet Eric Trump?
Well, I met him actually through Michael Cohen, who is like Voldemort from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Whose name we do not speak.
Yeah, Michael Cohen.
So I met him through Michael Cohen, who I knew from just social events and charity events in the greater New York area.
Okay.
And Michael knew that I was well connected, that I grew up with a lot of different types of, contacts and experiences and things. And he thought that I would make a great director for Eric Trump's new charity, which was for St. Jude.
Oh, yeah.
Because
the Trumps have done a lot for St. Jude's.
That's right. In fact, to this day, Eric has raised over $30 million for St. Jude.
Wow. Thank you, Eric Trump.
Thank you.
That's
and
awesome.
They even named a surgical and ICU center after Eric at St. Jude in Memphis. Which is amazing to go see. I implore anybody watching to swing by and see that sometime. It's still saving countless lives. But Michael Cohen thought I would make a great director of Eric Trump's charity. Meanwhile, I guess he had also told Eric that he met me and thought that Eric should interview me because Eric's personal assistant had just quit.
Yeah.
Well, she went on maternity leave and never came back, basically, which was her prerogative.
Right.
But so Eric was looking for an executive assistant. And at the time, I had just done like a year in law school, and I was a white collar paralegal in Connecticut.
Wow! So were you a lawyer? So
no,
are you a lawyer?
I dropped out because
you dropped out.
I went to law school to impress this guy I was dating, and then when we broke up, I was like,
you dropped out for a dude.
I was like, why am I here?
You dropped
like,
out of
why
school.
am I still at law school?
You dropped out of
This
school
corny.
for a dude.
Yeah. It was very Elle Woods. It was very Elle Woods.
Lord Jesus, take your wheel.
Unlike
Lynne
Legally
Patton.
Blonde, I didn't finish. Yeah, because when that relationship ended, I was like, I'm done with law school. I'm not trying to impress this guy.
You dropped out for puppy
anymore.
love. That's all right. That's all right.
I still have the debating skill. Okay,
I'm about to say, if you're a lawyer, I just got a traffic ticket. I want you to represent me.
So what was so funny about this meeting, though, is I thought I was interviewing for the director of the charity, and Eric thought he was interviewing me to be his assistant. Because Michael had lied to both of us and kind of gotten us together in this room. And then it wasn't until like halfway through that I was like, wait a minute. What do you mean answering phones and fax? I was like, I'm not doing any of that.
Lynne don't answer nobody's phone.
Hells no. I was like, maybe I need an assistant, but I don't know to be an assistant.
Yeah.
So, Eric in his quick thinking self immediately recognized what was happening and was like, well, you know what? I have an idea. I will hire you to be my director, but can you help cover the phones until I hire a personal assistant? And I was like, all right, that I can do.
Yeah.
Fast forward like 3 years later, and this bitch still hadn't hired anybody. And I was like, you know what? I think I got taken.
Yeah.
I think I got had.
Okay.
I was like, oh my goodness, I got the shaft. But it was the best job, and I love this family. I love Eric. He's like a brother to me. His wife is my best friend. You know Laura. We love her.
We love Laura.
We're going to see her tonight.
Yes.
Ride or die.
Ride or die.
But, and she loves you. Oh, my goodness. And thank you for the shout out, by the way, in your book to both of us.
Oh, yes. I mean, listen, y'all... I met y'all in
your story.
I met y'all in New York City.
Yes.
In New York City.
Yes.
And I was just like, wow, these two ladies are taking their time out to see me and to have lunch with me. I just thought it was amazing because I was nobody.
Oh,
you were Lynne Patton, and that's Laura Trump.
You were Terrence K. Williams. Are you kidding?
I'm about to go to lunch with Trump and Lynne Patton.
You were viral.
Are you freaking kidding me? Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
that was a funny line. We had a great time, and
that was
we
amazing.
still have a great time, and we make it a point to still have meals together whenever we get together.
So you met Eric Trump first.
Eric Trump first.
Okay.
So
now, a lot of people, when you were working for HUD, which congratulations, that was a great position to have.
Yeah.
You worked for Ben Carson, which was fantastic.
He's amazing.
Now, a lot of people were saying, oh, she's not qualified. Right. She is a party planner. That's what they called you, a party planner.
They sure did.
So they made it sound like Eric hired you as some party planner.
His wedding planner, to be exact.
Yeah, a wedding planner.
Yeah.
But the media went on and on about how you were just a party planner.
Well, it's funny because
they act like you did parties for 2-year-olds or something. I mean,
it's crazy because when he got engaged to Laura, I was there. He had me running around like a chicken with my head cut off that day, trying to coordinate his proposal and all this stuff to make sure it was perfect, that Laura would show up at the right place at the right time and all this stuff. And it was beautiful. It was great, and it pulled off. But, Laura and I were very close, as I said. And it's funny because everybody assumed, based on pictures that were on Instagram or something, that I guess because Laura can't possibly have a black best friend, I must be like there for a reason. I must be like some sort of party planner, or I must be her wedding planner, because there were pictures of us, going dress shopping for her wedding dress, doing all these things that, best friends do when their friends are getting married.
Now, were y'all best friends before you helped out? Or was that the start of it?
We just became close from my job working with Eric, her husband. And,
She wanted to know who is this woman working for her husband, huh? Yeah, Lord, hold on.
Right?
Hold on, who working for you? Now, you were now I saw that you didn't get paid to be a director for the charity, right?
So that was kind of the deal, is that Eric
Yeah.
was like, I'm only going to, even though I want you to wear both hats, director and assistant, I'm only going to pay you for one of these jobs. So,
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
you were
what? Wait a minute.
unpaid?
So I'm doing double the work for half the pay.
For half the pay. So
All right,
Laura,
I was like, sign me up.
So Laura Trump wanted to know, who is this
Thank
woman
you.
who's not getting paid much
Right.
to work for my husband? Let me go up here and see who she is.
Which to Eric's credit, he wanted to give the most money he could to St. Jude.
Yeah.
So he was like, you know what, Lynn, you're going to do this on the side, and hopefully we can make something of this charity together, and hopefully we can raise money. But it's not, the primary job is working at Trump Org as an assistant to me, also to his sister and his brother, Ivanka and Eric and Don. And so working for all three of them was just hilarious.
Right,
I mean,
right.
their relationship and the way they work together and the way they feed off each other and encourage each other is just so awesome, inspiring to witness from a front row seat for 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
So how was your experience when you first met Donald Trump? President Donald Trump.
I don't remember exactly how I met him, but I think I probably met him in the elevator or something the first time.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, and I remember him being like, "You do something for my kids. Tell me again what it is you do." And I was like, "I'm Lynne Patton, and I work for your." I mean, I probably looked so crazy, right?
Uh-huh.
And so pathetic. But, gradually he started to recognize me first as somebody who did something for his kids.
Yeah.
Then I think as the black chick with the sunglasses on her head.
Yeah.
Then,
the famous sunglasses.
The famous sunglasses.
Now,
Let me take them off.
They
do come off. They're not
made fun of
attached.
you, right?
SNL spoofed me,
Yeah.
and the girl actually
What did you
had
think about it,
glasses
though?
on her head.
What did you think about it? Did you laugh?
I mean, I was just grateful
Yeah.
that it wasn't, what's that actress's name? Leslie, that she wasn't the one playing me? 'Cause
Yeah,
she
yeah,
plays
yeah.
Omarosa.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, as long as it wasn't her playing me, because I was like, I hope I'm not that big. But yeah, they had this cute little girl playing me, and it was, look, they say whether you're Democrat or Republican, once you've been spoofed on Saturday Night Live,
Yeah.
you just
I
have
mean, you
to.
made it to SNL.
It's a pinnacle.
You made
Am
it
I
to
right?
SNL.
I mean, it's a pinnacle.
They haven't made fun of me yet, so I guess I'm nobody.
It's actually my screensaver.
SNL hasn't
which
made
is
fun
hilarious.
of me yet. Yeah,
It's my screensaver on my iPad.
So you've been on the Trump family for 11 years.
Yeah.
11 years. So you're probably
Well, actually, now it's almost 15, 16.
So you've been on the Trump family for 15 years.
Yeah.
For 15 years. That's a very, very,
Yeah.
very long time.
2008, I believe.
Since 2008.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's
So
up
know,
there.
why did you believe in Trump?
That's a good question.
What
I would
made
have
you
to
believe?
say that it's because they believed in me. And I know that sounds so corny and hokey, but
Now
from day one,
yeah.
not only did Eric and Ivanka and Don believe in me, but, over the years, as I got to know their dad, he believed in me too.
Right.
And it became that, and what you'll see is that I'm not the only one. Most people who work for the Trump organization have been there for decades.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about working for this family, and I can't put my finger on it, but you just want to stay and you want to help them succeed.
Yeah.
And, because they make you feel like you're a part of that, and you are. And you're extremely critical to their success, and they, recognize it in a lot of different ways. But one of the ways that, Eric and his family recognized it is that they literally embraced me almost as one of their own.
Yeah.
One thing, and I think it's because I grew up the way I did.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't need this job, so I was kind of like, if they fire me tomorrow, I'll be okay with that, and I'll be fine. So I was not a yes person. So every
Gotcha.
time that Eric would ask me a question, like my opinion about something, does this tie look good? Should I wear these pants?
No, Eric.
Thank
no,
you,
Eric.
honey. No,
Eric,
you look
that tie don't look
ridiculous.
good, buddy boy.
You look silly. And Ivanka would be like, which picture do you like best? Neither, honey. Like, take it again. Take it again.
Yeah, so you kept it real with the family.
I did. I kept it real, and it started off as like, what color tie? Then, as they start to trust your opinion, it becomes, should we buy this house? Should we have another kid? Should we buy this property? Should we do? Yeah. So they start to involve you in a lot of real decision making.
That's amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
Everything from rugs that, you see in the property to, whether or not they have their like fifth child or something. It's just, what should they name those kids?
Yeah.
I've been there through birthday parties, funerals, weddings, literally in the hospital when they're giving birth. It's just been such a wild ride. And so, to go back, they thought I was Laura's wedding planner because I was in all these pictures of her planning her wedding. And again, because Laura can't possibly have a black friend, she must be paid to be there. And so it became like this whole thing.
Were you a paid black friend?
Thank you. No. And by the way, can I just say, I know Eric's wedding planner was this woman named Jennifer Zabinski, and also Preston Bailey, who's world famous wedding planner. I know how much both of them got paid, so for the record, I wish I were Eric's wedding planner.
Okay. I do want to know if somebody if somebody wanted to pay you to be their black friend.
What's the price?
What's the price? Is there a price?
There is no money. There's no amount of money in the world
to pretend to be somebody's black friend.
No amount of money in the world, and I say that all the time.
I don't know. You give me $20 million and some chicken wings. If you give me $20 million and some chicken wings, I will be your black friend. Okay, I will.
I say it all the time, and you've heard me say this, Terrence. There is no amount of money in the world that could pay me to be with this man and his family if I truly thought they were racist, had racist tendencies, were bigots, were sexist, misogynist. There's no way. There's no way. Because I can wake up and look at myself, everything that my parents have worked for, everything that my family's been through. There's no way I would continue to do this to them. My father and his legacy and everything.
You have been sticking around because they are some good.
That's
because the Trump family is a good family.
They are a great family.
A real
and like
family.
I said, I don't think I would be here if it weren't for them. So
now, Ken, you touch on that real quick. Touch on that when I remember you said in the beginning of this.
I think Trump saved my life, and I'm not being even facetious or I'm not bloviating anything.
Yes.
Those are the facts, and I'll explain why. Growing up in suburban Connecticut, it's ironic because your parents work so hard to send you to prep school and all this stuff. And I went to boarding school in Massachusetts, and the more money you spend on schooling, the more thieves and drugs there are. So,
yeah.
I mean, you can leave a phone or a computer down at boarding school, it'll be gone. Thieves, I'm telling you. There's no greater thief than like a rich white person with money.
I know Hunter.
Right? So, and I mean that with peace and love because many of them are my best friends. But you turn around, you put your sunglasses down, they're gone. Yeah. So, also to that respect, your parents are trying to take you out of public school, put you in private school to get out of the temptations of drugs and alcohol and all this stuff. No, never before are there more drugs and alcohol than in private schools in America. So, because a lot of times your parents are gone, you're having parties, you have disposable income to spend on this. And so for the first time in boarding school, I tried a drug, cocaine. And I actually did it wrong the first time. I exhaled instead of inhaling, and I blew it all over the floor. To this day, one of my friends is still pissed at me about that. But that aside, unfortunately, I learned finally how to do it the right way. And, it was something I did periodically, like a lot of my friends growing up. When I went to college, I actually stopped cold turkey. But then when I was working for the Trump family in around 2010, maybe 2011,
Yeah.
somebody introduced me to what's called like a drug delivery service. I didn't even know these existed. They're all over New York City.
Yeah.
Basically, you call this number, they'll come deliver cocaine to you. They'll come deliver weed to you. Like it's like Uber Eats
Yeah,
for
but with
drug
drugs,
addicts. Yeah, and completely illegal. But, you still take that chance. And I thought, let me just do this every once in a while because the jobs, working for the family was stressful. I was always trying to make excuses for myself, like, oh, this will help me,
Yeah.
stay up later. This will
Yeah.
help me do this.
Yeah.
And I always told myself, as long as I wasn't doing it at work,
It was okay.
It was okay. And as long as
Yeah.
I showed up for work and never, and as long as I never messed up at work, I was functioning.
Yeah.
And so it started off as like maybe once a week. And then by the time, like probably after about a year of using that delivery service, I was calling it every day.
Wow.
Every day. And I was spending almost $300 to $500 a day on this drug. And it caused a lot of stress between me and my boyfriend, who's still with me. We've been together for 17 years. And, because I was spending money left and right. I think almost, over $100,000 in 1 year.
So basically, you had an addiction.
I had an addiction. Thank you.
You had an addiction.
I had an addiction, and like millions of Americans, it just, it just snuck up on me, and I didn't think it was something. I tricked myself into thinking this was something
because
I could control.
function. Because you were
I wasn't
functioning
losing my
addiction.
job. I wasn't
Yeah,
being
it
evicted.
was okay, yeah.
I was paying my bills on time. I thought I had it together. Well, thank goodness, by the grace of God, somebody at Trump, noticed that something was wrong. In fact, it didn't really happen like that. I went out with a group of people that worked at the Trump organization. One of them, I actually called this person in front of for the delivery. They were very uncomfortable with that. They ended up telling Eric about it. My initial reaction was I was actually mad at this person. But in retrospect, I'm grateful.
Somebody said something.
Somebody said something.
Yeah,
and
somebody
so
needed to say something.
one day I come strolling into the Trump organization thinking my don't stink, and all this stuff. And suddenly I get called into Eric's office. And, he's like, close the door. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, what's happening? And so I close
Aren't
the
you
door.
married? Well, I got to close the door.
Close the door.
Yeah.
Gets his wife on the phone, Laura, and they confront me and they say, we know you're doing drugs, so don't even try to, because, my first reaction was deny. And, and he actually said, do you mind if I look in your purse? And I was like, oh,
Wow.
God, wow. So he looks in my purse and I said, and he actually told me later that had he found it, he was going to fire me on the spot. But I actually did not have it because between you and me, I hadn't made my phone call yet.
Yeah.
But I didn't have it. And by the grace of God, that I passed his inspection. But, tears were streaming down my face. He said, we love you, Lynn. You're like a sister to us. We want to make sure that you get the help you need.
Wow.
We don't want you. You're better than this. He literally said to me,
And you are. Yeah.
You're better than this.
Yeah.
We know that it's a struggle, and we know, and it's ironic because the night before he knew that I had this, it's the person that told him, and he still came to this birthday celebration I had.
Wow.
That my boyfriend had put together for me, and he showed up. It was actually at Trump Soho, and a bunch of people. And he showed up, had dinner with us and everything. And, to know that he was still willing to show up and support me when I was not supporting him, when I was risking, the reputation of this family by possibly being busted, by possibly being discovered, by possibly getting arrested.
Right.
And that's one of the things he said to me. He's like, Lynn, if something were to happen to you, first of all, we care about you getting in trouble or dying or overdosing. But if something were to happen to you, it's not just about you. it's, that would be a story in the newspaper.
Right.
About, Trump's top assistant.
Exactly.
Being arrested for cocaine.
Yep.
Head of their charities, all this
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, it would have been a storyline.
It would have been big, and this was before he came down the golden escalator.
Yes.
So they confronted me, I think, in 2013, maybe.
Yeah.
2012. I had been doing drugs for about a year again. And
they stuck by your side.
They stuck by my side. His sister and brother. Amazing. His sister and brother also, called me up and supported me and said that they encouraged me to get the help I needed. I ended up getting the help I needed through them. My family was also involved, obviously, in that recovery process. And, it's just one of those things. And now, here's something that I don't always admit. Anybody who understands addiction knows that part of recovery is relapse. It just comes with the territory.
Right.
So during the next year, when the Trumps thought I was 100% clean, I kind of slipped up once or twice. Now, I got back on track because it was important to me to stay clean, not just for them, for the job, but for for myself. But the day he came down the escalator, the golden escalator, I said to myself, Lynn, this is bigger than you.
Right.
This is now, it's even bigger than the Trump family. Yeah. This is about the country.
Yeah.
If I were to get arrested for drugs at this point in my life, not only would it potentially derail, his, campaign, but it would derail my family's reputation,
hurt your family.
Hurt my family, hurt me.
Yep.
Would become fodder for the left, despite the fact that they supposedly care about, issues like this. But I just knew at that moment that I had to put not only myself first, but the Trump family first, and now America first.
Amazing.
Had he not come down those stairs, I kind of wonder if I would have permanently stopped. I might have still done it on occasion.
Yeah.
And as we all know, something was introduced in 2015 that changed the course of doing drugs, and that's called fentanyl. Yeah. Fentanyl started popping up in casual drug use.
Which is killing millions of people.
Casual drug use. And actually, what I said this in a speech the other day, I picked up the New York Post one day because I had heard through the grapevine that the delivery service I used years ago was responsible for killing 3 people.
Wow.
With fentanyl-laced cocaine.
And that could have been you.
Could have been me.
So thank God that is over with.
Could have been me. So when people say, why do you like Donald Trump? I say, I literally think he saved my life by running for president. I know his kids, absolutely saved me from myself.
God bless them.
And
God bless them. And you know what? God bless that lady, that woman who was at dinner with you and who overheard you talking.
And she knows who she is if she's listening.
You are a wonderful lady. Thank you.
I love you, girl.
Thank you for exposing Lynn. Thank you for exposing Lynn. Because now
she's still there at the Trump organization.
That's good.
So we love her.
Yes, she's great. Okay, so I do have a question to ask you, okay? So you love the Trump family. You are part of the family, okay?
Oh, well, thank you.
Now, let's say, okay, I really want to ask this question, okay? So I'm crazy. So say the Trump family is stuck let's say the Trump family is in the middle of the jungle and they are all approached by a bunch of lions.
Oh Lord Jesus.
And you have the ability to save one of them. Who would you save first?
Oh my gosh.
You have to answer. Who would you save?
They're about to be eaten by a pride of lions. I can only save one?
You can only save one.
Oh, gee. Well, of course, I think most people would expect me to say Eric Trump.
Okay.
But, and most people would want me to say the president. But of course, I would have to probably put Eric before the president because we're siblings.
Yeah.
But and Eric, please don't kill me. But Don Jr. and I have a very unique relationship. We have a very sick, twisted sense of humor, and we exchange memes every morning.
Yes.
While we're getting dressed and eating breakfast and stuff. And half the memes he posts and half the memes I post come from one another.
Yeah.
And so if you follow Don Jr. on Instagram, you know
Don Jr. is
how
great.
twisted he can be.
Yeah.
And it's just political humor, funny. I think I would actually have to save Don Jr. because I would miss that sort of wicked sense of humor that he has. And I'm sorry, Laura and Eric. I know you saved my life.
You're not gonna say Laura first? Oh my God!
I think I would miss laughing. I think I would miss laughing and sharing memes with Don Jr. every morning.
What about Donald Trump?
I mean,
you're the senior advisor.
He's blessed this country so much.
So you're gonna save Don Jr. for the memes.
We can continue in the tradition of America first.
Okay.
On his behalf.
Okay. Okay. So who would be the second person you save?
Well, for the future of the Trump organization, I would have to say Eric Trump.
Oh,
I know. But then for the future of this country, I would save the president of the United States.
Okay.
Third. 3 times the charm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is hilarious.
Yes, and then Laura, you would be the fourth.
No.
You would be fourth.
Why you do Laura like that? Why you do Laura like
Laura
that?
would be fourth.
Laura, Laura, I'm so sorry. Oh no!
Please don't hate me, Laura.
That means Ivanka is last. Oh Lord! Oh my!
Well, I mean, I'm
so
also
Ivanka
close
don't
to
have
Tiffany.
a chance.
Tiffany.
What Ivanka? I forgot about. I'm sorry, I forgot about Tiffany. I said Tiffany. I mean, Tiffany.
And don't forget Barron now.
Oh, and Barron. Listen.
I mean, Melania might have to be up there too now.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to leave Barron out of it because he's a child.
Yeah, we leave Barron.
I leave the kids out of it. I was talking about the adults only, not the children. Not the children.
Yes.
Lynn, I love you so much.
I love you, Terrence.
I love you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you
This has
for
been
coming
amazing.
on. Thank you. But I'm telling you right now, somebody is going to be mad.
I might be fired after this. Do you need a co-host? Because I might not have a job after
If it were me, I would say Donald Trump first. President Trump, I would save you first, okay? Yes.
I love it.
The senior advisor is gone, and I'm going to be the junior advisor to President Trump.
Hilarious.
Anyways, Lynn, I love you so much. God bless you.
God bless you.
I love
you.
you.
Keep fighting the good fight, my
Thank you.
friend.
Thank
and your
you.
pancakes are delicious.
Thank you.
We have every flavor.
Well,
For
thank
the
you for the
cinnamon
support. I really
Yes.
appreciate it.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Awesome.
You're the best.
It's the best.